What are you most afraid of?
Um, Dying alone. I don't think that anyone would even notice if I was gone. They never do. If I change my phone number or something, my phone doesn't ever ring. I turned it off when we came in here like someone was going to call me. No one does.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll discuss how the loneliness epidemic is severely affecting women in their 30s, how a woman tells us that modern women don't want responsibility, and how blaming men for everything has become a sport. We invite you to smash that like button and help us reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year to earn our first plaque. That's the only support we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement and leave your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's begin.
Everyone always says it's gonna be okay, but no one really knows that. That's just what you say. I just feel like it's a little bit unfair. I'm so over waiting. Like, when is it gonna be my turn? What did I do wrong? The thing is, I don't even want to be getting married or having kids right now, but I'm just starting to get nervous. What is wrong with me? I don't know why it's so easy for some people. I just feel like I'm never gonna find the person, if I even have a person. And I don't want to sit around swiping on fucking dating apps and going on these first dates where you just sit down and you're like, let's see if we like each other. It just feels so forced. I don't want to be alone forever. I feel like we're playing musical chairs, and if I don't spend time on it right now, then I'm going to be the last one standing up when everyone sits down and everyone's going to get married and start having kids, and then I'm just going to be like the last single person and no one is going to have time for me. Like, I didn't have a bad childhood. It wasn't like super traumatic. But then, like, if it wasn't purity culture that messed me up and made me afraid to, like, date and take risks, then what is it? Like, why am I such a pussy? I just feel like I'm always working so hard on something. I'm always working toward a goal. Like, when is it gonna be my turn to, like, fall in love and relax and, like, chill? Even with content has been so fucking cool over the past few months, but I still don't feel like I'm in a place where I have like such an engaged community that I can relax. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what people want to see from me, and that's so consuming. And when stuff doesn't do well, it just feels like my life isn't interesting enough. God, I always used to say that, like, how can you even record if you're that upset? I don't know if I can post this.
The loneliness epidemic in women, what do you think might be the cause? I'll tell you what I believe it is. For me, in a world where we are all so connected, we are emotionally disconnected. A woman today has so many options that she can never focus her mind on one. She has dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, then Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. She has multiple options, but having so many options doesn't allow for a real connection because you don't have to make an effort. At the first thing you don't like, you just move on to the next best thing. Women today struggle to get a date, while men struggle to stand out, to at least be visible to women. We're overlooking factors like pre-selection and their standards, which we'll discuss throughout this video.
The prettier and more successful you are, the harder it is to date.
Interesting perspective. Let's hear some more about this.
So many women that I know that are super hot are single.
Okay, and?
And also for me, like, the more successful I get, I feel like the harder it is to date, because all of a sudden the layer of BS that you were kind of falling for before because you thought, oh yeah, I gotta put up with it, or like it's normal, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I don't actually need this.
So nothing about one's physical appearance actually changed, just one's attitude. Got it.
The more good looking you are, there is this thing that happens where boys think they need to humble you. They're so mean to me. They're so much meaner to me now than before I was successful and before I kind of came into my own.
No, that's not normal. What type of guys is one hanging around?
I feel like they were so much nicer to me, and now it's like they really make it their job to humble me.
Maybe it has something to do with the attitude. There is a fine line, after all, between being confident and being pompous.
For real, the hotter you are, like so many hot women that I know, they're all single. Literally, so many successful women, like 90% of hot and successful women that I know, they're all single. And I'm like, why?
Very simply, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what a person looks like and how good looking they are. Some individuals just aren't willing to put up with a bad attitude.
Oh, hell no!
Absolutely, the more successful a woman is, the higher her standards become. But this changes depending on the man who approaches her. If a man from the top 20% approaches her, showing that he has what she is looking for, her attitude towards him will be kind and welcoming. But the average man or the simps don't have the same luck. First, her attitude towards them is like, "Why are you talking to me?" Second, if you manage to get a date, it feels more like an interview to see what you bring to the table. Third, you will be judged for everything, from where you take her, the car you drive, and your attire, because you don't meet her high standards. It's not about men being bad. It's about only being friendly with the men she is attracted to and having a bad attitude towards the rest. But she doesn't like responsibility. In the next video, a woman talks clearly about this.
Why are there so many single women out here that are struggling to find a man? Well, I'm going to tell you the reason, but you're not going to like the answer. Now, this may not apply to you, so don't take offense. But if you do, maybe you need to reflect why it makes you offended. Honestly, a lot of women treat men like trash. A lot of women take men for granted. A lot of women want men to take accountability for their actions and what they do. But boy, if you ask a woman to take accountability for her faults and her actions, it's straight to signing divorce papers. But my question is, why are women so resistant to taking accountability? Like really, what is the reason why you won't take accountability for your actions? I know for me personally, because I was this woman for many, many years, like most of my marriage, I realized it's because I thought I had to be perfect and that society judged me based on my level of perfection. And if I dared to take accountability for my faults and actions, then I would be even more demonized. But the reality is, me not taking accountability was making it worse. And I don't think a lot of women understand the fact that we are a lot of the problem. I'm not saying we're the whole problem, but at least on my platform, on this side of things, a lot of men are trying. They're putting in the effort. They're doing the things that they need to do. And women are taking their husbands for granted. They got married because they wanted to be married, not because they wanted to be a wife. So you single ladies struggling to find a man, most men are not even wanting to get married anymore because they've dealt with bad relationship after bad relationship of women taking them for granted and treating them like trash. And honestly, I can't blame them. If you put all the effort in for a year, didn't get anything back, you wouldn't tolerate that either. So why are we expecting men to just sit down, shut up, and take it? You would advise every one of your girlfriends, girl, don't take that from him. But why should he take that from you? And honestly, I truly believe that lack of accountability is one of the #1 reasons why marriages are failing. So we refuse to take ownership of the things that we need to take ownership for. But I can promise you, if you take accountability for your actions and work really hard to fix them, your marriage can look completely different. Because y'all, that's where I'm sitting right now. The problem is you just gotta swallow your pride, do what it takes to make a change.
At least this woman didn't get divorced and keeps blaming her husband for everything. Many women get married more for the wedding and the ring, not to be a man's wife. When the marriage goes bad, instead of looking at themselves and asking what they're doing wrong, they place all the responsibility on the man because their ego won't let them see that they might be wrong. There are men who got married and wonder where the woman they knew went. They only put effort into getting the ring, and immediately everything changed. First, the complaints about everything started, then intimacy began to decrease, until it reached a point where the bedroom was dead. It gets worse when they start sleeping in separate rooms. Then comes the divorce threats until one day, that man wakes up tired of working to support a woman who makes his life impossible. He says to himself, "This isn't what I signed up for, to live this stressful, unhappy life." He gives her what she wants, the divorce. But even then, she doesn't take responsibility because responsibility is kryptonite for women. She will blame you for the failure of the marriage, say she gave you her best years, that she was the perfect wife, and make you look like the villain. She'll turn your kids against you, accuse you of abuse, and destroy all your relationships, trying to take all your assets in the divorce just because you didn't want to keep enduring her abuse and unhappy life. This is the daily bread for all men.
It never fails. A woman comes on the internet being vulnerable, being relatable, expressing how she feels to other women. And men jump on there and they take it as their opportunity to be like, see, and I'm sure you probably met plenty of men in your 20s, plenty of men in your 30s that you could have settled down and had kids for. But no, you thought you were too good for them and this and that. Like, lonely doesn't mean desperate. So you can dump out that trash bag full of clothes because you're not bringing them to her house. Not every woman who is lonely is willing to settle for you. Don't let her tears on the internet fool you into thinking that she's probably thinking, I should have settled long ago. Like, some women don't want to settle. She might be lonely in the moment, but she still would rather choose this life. Don't act like single women are the only ones who are in tears. I'm sure there are married women who are also crying themselves to sleep every night because they married a raggedy man they met in their 20s, the raggedy man they met in their 30s. Some of these men want you to settle because they are the men they want you to settle for. So, of course, you're going to be like, see, I'm sure you met, they're the raggedy men they speak of. So her comment said things like, but at least you enjoyed your 20s when you didn't need no man. You missed the train, get a cat. Don't worry, it gets worse. Getting a man is not difficult. It's getting a decent man that sometimes is an issue. People think the worst thing in the world is being alone, but it's not. It's being with someone that makes you feel alone. So for all the men out there that are really worried about her, for some reason, I think she'll be fine. I think she pulls her car up every day to the house that she owns, that she pays for herself. She probably crawls into her king-size bed that she doesn't have to share. She has a girl dinner. And I think she plans a trip with a solo trip or a trip with her girlfriends, spends time with her family and her friends. She probably has a pet. I think she'll be fine. So when you get back home to your basement at your mom's house and you're heating up that Hot Pocket that you didn't finish this morning and you crawl into your futon, I want you to realize that she's not worried about you, so maybe you shouldn't worry about her.
So you confirm the theory that it's not that she can't find men, but that she wants the winning man. Instead of building a life with a man and achieving everything together, she prefers the accomplished man, waiting at the finish line, offering nothing more than a worn-out presence. Here's the detail. There are no decent men for this woman, or rather, there are no well-positioned men for her. Because as you say, there are men. I bet there are many decent men, but the girl with a house, who takes girl trips and has a king-size bed, doesn't want the decent, poor, or average man. She wants the man with money. Decency can come later in her eyes. But the problem is that she wants the winner, but the winner doesn't want her. He wants the young girl, 20 to 26 years old, who can give him healthy children and a family, not the 35-year-old with experience on her resume. So enjoy your cats and your king-size bed, because the wall does not forgive.
I went out this weekend with a girlfriend of mine, and while we were sitting down talking about just being single and in our 40s and the dating pool of men and women and how just that pool's a little dirty. Been single for about 5 years, so I really have learned a lot. And what I have really learned is the longer that you are single, and especially the longer that you are not intimate with someone, it really gives you the clarity of what you want, need, and deserve. Being single, it's one thing. That is a time of reflection for you, a time to get to know yourself, to know what it is you're looking for in a mate. But when you add the aspect of you are also not intimate and you haven't been intimate for like a while, man, you really think, who am I about to relinquish that to? Who am I about to relinquish all of that commitment I've made to not being intimate and focusing directly on myself? Who am I relinquishing that to? You really think about that. You really think about that, because that commitment, to y'all out there who have committed to not only being single, but to also not being intimate with anyone, your next one, I'm telling you, you're really putting thought into it. And I want to say, good job. Good job.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Nothing. Good luck in the convent. I don't think your candidate pool is that full either. You find it dirty because the water has been stagnant for years. It makes me laugh when a 40-year-old woman thinks men are dying to be with her, when many men wouldn't even look in her direction. Another thing, who do you think is taking better care of themselves? Many men are choosing to follow their own path. Others prefer not to have a very committed relationship with a woman because men are learning. Now it's better to have a relationship where you live in your house and I live in mine. Living with a woman no longer brings any value because many like her won't do the cleaning or treat you like a king at home. Don't even count on her money, but of course, she wants you to be the provider, to handle her bills, for the wonderful pleasure of her company. Times have changed. Men will no longer be used as wallets or let the state force them to give up their assets. Men are no longer committing. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think is the cause of this loneliness epidemic in women? Why do you think women don't like to take responsibility for their actions? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.